I'm JoAnna Garcia Swisher, and this is Entertainment Weekly Roll Call. I got into acting kind of by accident. I had heard from our neighbors at the time of this acting school in the community, and my mom, was looking for something extracurricular for me to do, and asked if I would want to do it, and the rest was history. I was about 14 when I started the show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it was awesome because, we were able to shoot a whole season in a couple of weeks because it was just the beginning and the end of the episodes. So my parents were okay with me doing that and missing school because it meant that I still, the majority of the time, lived a normal high schooler life. But then I would hop off to Canada to shoot those. But it was really fun. And they were scary at the time. There was only a couple of times that we ran into the actors that were playing like the creepy, ghost or whatever it may be. I do remember one was like, I was like, wow, that was a surprise. But for the most part, we were there all alone. So we didn't come across the scary people all that much.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's 3. Vicky and Bill are going in for 7 minutes in heaven.
It was based on true stories. I mean, it was real life. And the caste system in high schools back in the day, it was very much like the jock, the cheerleader, that was the nerds, the whatever it would be. Those were very real parts of culture. And so I think it also just, tugged at a lot of heartstrings, and growing up can be so brutal. So I think the fact that it was rooted in so much truth and real experience, inevitably that's going to resonate. I joined pretty early on in the season, so it wasn't on yet. But I remember, it was such a beautiful cast of, these such talented people were on that show, and it was so much fun to do, and we were so young, and I got to play this just horrible little cheerleader, but that ultimately made out with at 7 minutes in heaven. But yeah, it was fun. We had a lot of fun on that show. I mean, I got the audition. I thought it was bizarre and insane. I remember just cussing my way all the way there to just pretend like it wasn't gonna be anything, out of the ordinary. And it was just a bizarre, crazy movie. It was insane. I mean, it's just where so much of my life happened. I remember, learning what the art of and beauty of a sitcom was. I felt like it's a tool, part of my, like something in your tool belt that you have forever, is like learning to do that kind of job because it's so different. But the family aspect of it and how close we all were and still are, and it just was a monumental, moment in my life, but also in my career, because this show was, on for 6 years, and it was amazing. I mean, just put one lesson that I learned from Reba, on Reba, it would kind of be impossible. It was most of my 20s I spent on the show. So, I went through a lot personally, professionally, but also just learning, the art of being on a sitcom. It's such a unique type of television show, and there's so many amazing things about it that I still draw from, like working to this day. So I just am so grateful for that kind of opportunity to be on, a multicam show for that long. Looking back on the show, I can, that plays every day, so you could find it probably somewhere at any given moment, I'm sure, on TV. So I will come across it and I'll giggle at something, and I'll bring back a memory of exactly, maybe it was something, not even what you're seeing, but a funny moment. And so I think that laughter created so many opportunities, just like have these memories like seared in. So I almost remember when I see the scenes, there are very few scenes on the show that I don't remember filming, which is bizarre because there were a lot of scenes. In a lot of ways, I felt like she was most like me. I'm way more neurotic than I am like confident and flighty. So that was fun to have that awkward element. Cheyenne was like, I got this. I'm cool. Megan was a little bit more uncertain, and she was also really driven, but there was just a lot, she wasn't like totally polished, and to live in the billionaire world. But that show was just so important for so many reasons. But I loved the role. I loved the show. I loved my coworkers. It just really spoke to me in so many ways. And so I was really sad to see it go. But it's one of the parts of my life and my history that I'm more proud of than anything. I mean, I was just excited to see her get her footing. Just as like things were happening and she was starting to become more confident, I would have liked to see where her writing career went, and to see the girls grow. That would have been fun. I definitely think that they would have gotten Megan ready for her wedding, made sure she looked appropriate, no matter how uncomfortable that made her feel. And I think that Megan, would have become the big sister that they always really needed. Joining Gossip Girl was really exciting. It was right after they had canceled Privilege, so I was still kind of licking my wounds. But it was such an exciting show, and the cast was really wonderful. I mean, the second I got there, I was, embraced, and they were, like, let's go grab food and let's go out and let's have fun. And it was just like you could tell it was a really special time in all of their lives. So I felt really lucky to be a part of it. I love to do I really enjoyed doing like a fashion forward kind of, playing a fashion forward character and being on a show like that was really cool. And I also met my husband because I moved to New York. So I'm super grateful for that reason as well. I mean, I think chemistry is one of those things that you can't make up. Even if you have chemistry because you loathe somebody, because we've heard all of those stories of like, they hated each other, but it was like so electric or whatever. But I think that having that beautiful young cast on Gossip Girl, and I can't speak to it for them, but it was, it created this like really, it was a cool moment in everybody's lives from what it looked like and what it felt like for me. And so then coupled with like this, totally extra sort of world that they had created with this fantastic fashion, it was the ultimate. It was the ultimate. And they're all so cool. I mean, they're all like fashionistas and icons in their own right. Yeah, Revenge of the Bridesmaids was fun. People still talk to me about that. So it was a really fun movie. It was shot in New Orleans. We were all really young and we had a great time. We all just had like it was like a good time. We ate really great restaurants. I mean, I feel like New Orleans is, the allure and the beauty of New Orleans is like, it's hard to not be intoxicated by that. It's such a special city. So it was fun. We had a good time. When I was approached about the role was coming soon, it was right after I gave birth. So when I started Once Upon a Time, I had a 12-week-old. And so I was super nervous. I was like, what is going to happen? I don't know what it's going to feel like to be working so hard as, this new mom. We were shooting in Canada. I was away from Nick. It was a lot. I just had a baby. I was going to be wearing a seashell situation. But ultimately, it was one of my favorite roles. She was and I loved how they allowed her to evolve. She was very quirky. And I had so much fun with that version of Ariel. And then I didn't really look any further. I didn't want to know what people thought of it, because if I had gone in thinking that, I probably would have psyched myself out. But it was awesome. I was really grateful for it. I mean, I loved the people that work on the show on Once Upon a Time, and I was so honored to play Ariel, and I knew that it was, you know, a really fun role. The fans of Once Upon a Time are extraordinary, and so I was so honored. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come back and do whatever. It was fun too. She always showed like the most inopportune times or surprising moments. The Mindy Project was fun because I find their brand of humor so funny. So that was really just a total treat. But yeah, I do. I'm shooting a little comedy movie right now, and it's been a minute since I've just been able to let loose and be kooky, and it's been so fun. So yeah, I do. I love the comedy. The chemistry with Heather and Brooke was pretty instant. I mean, it was very early on that we had like a margarita night, and that was just one of those, it was a big scene, but it felt like it took 2 seconds to film. It was so nice, and I remember feeling like if we were able to capture what it felt like to do that scene on camera, that we would have something really special to share, because we just enjoyed each other. And those are my favorite scenes of the show, and I love getting that time, because our characters' story, we tell so many different stories, and so we kind of go off in our own little tangents, so it's like really nice to be all together. When I read the script for Sweet Magnolias, I remember thinking, this is a show that I would want to watch. And then I also remember thinking that all that Maddie was presented with so early on, that I wanted a chance to tell that story in a way where she might have been kind of hit by a Mack truck, but she wasn't a victim. And so I was excited to kind of dive in from there, and then coming and meeting the ladies and realizing just how meant to be it felt. Like I felt if we had, you know, if people found our show, that it would resonate. They would relate to it. My role on Sweet Magnolias, I don't know so much that it's different, because she's just a totally different person and a different human. I have enjoyed her so much because she can't fake the funk, and I really appreciate how vulnerable she is to kind of bumble through things and figure things out and not be afraid to be wrong, and she's very human. And so I love playing Maddie for that reason. You know, the end of season 2 does not end, you know, subtly. So I, without going into too much detail, I would like to see how she gets out of this next one. I also think that her fatigue towards huge catastrophic things that are outside of her control, I think that there's going to be a lack of patience and kind of like a, okay, let me figure this one out now. I think that Maddie she's going to be met with a lot. If the show continues to season 3, I think it's going to be a lot of figuring out.